Tim, well, we know we in your channel or channel we always speak about Ford model, but what is your favorite model for 2024 in the Ford manufacturer?
Favorite model? Uh,
I,
I don't
I, I,
know.
I thought I'd get this reaction out of you. I was chuckling when Marie wanted to ask this one because it wasn't in my questions. And I said, Marie, is there anything you want to ask Tim? And right away, we were setting up some sound deadening for the office. And right away, she belted this one out with a big smile on her face. She really wanted to know what your favorite model is. And I chuckled because I figured you're probably like me. And it's like, oh man, that's like such a tough question.
Yeah, because I don't know if
It
I'm
is.
the only one, but I don't know what you drive, what you like, so I wanted to know it tonight.
Well, I'm a huge fan, so I know what you drive.
Yeah, you know.
I drive a lot, too many things. I think the Bronco. The Bronco is, I think, fun because you can take it off road and it rides really good in town. It can flip the top back, and I don't have to. Mustang, convertible is nice, but I don't like getting in and out of them. So the Bronco's a lot, a lot easier to get in and out of. I don't know. I do like the Bronco. Our Bronco. It sat for the winter and. For a long time while I drove the electric vehicle and the Lightning and such, but I got back on the Bronco. I'm like, man, why am I not driving this every day? So, but Ford has some great vehicles. They're all fun to drive. The Maverick, the GM and I was just talking about because he has a practice of kind of getting about every vehicle that Ford makes when they first come out. When a Mach-E first came out, he got a Mach-E and drove it for 6 months because usually if you get an employee pricing, you have to keep that vehicle for 6 months. And so he would get in a vehicle and he would drive it for 6 months. When we got a new product, when a vehicle came out, when the Maverick came out, he ordered one the first day and EcoBoost got it quickly. He drove it for 6 months. And he was just saying the other day, he goes, I miss driving that drives really good for that price. You can get in an F-150 or a Maverick, and they both drive really good. And that's a great vehicle as well. So there's some great vehicles. And recently I ordered a Bronco Sport, mainly just so I could do video content, thinking, well,
Wow.
we'll just sell it. I just won't take it. And because you can, the certain package on the Bronco Sport, you cannot order as a retail, or you can't order as a stock. It can only be ordered as retail. So I ordered it, but now I'm thinking I think I might buy it when it comes in. We'll just see, drive it for a little while, and put a little lift on it and some nice aggressive tires, and show people that you can go off road in it. So we'll see. That one got pushed back too much, so we'll see what happens.
Well, Winston's favorite model is it's definitely the Bronco.
Yeah.
For many of the reasons, like you, Tim.
You speak about it.
It's tough, and I'm going to answer T and Bubba as well as someone else who dropped a comment in here. We didn't get the Ford Maverick recall, and so far we haven't gotten any recalls on our Maverick. We've had it since March, but recalls really never really worry me because I've got to bring the vehicle in for an oil change anyways. So even if I didn't work at a Ford dealership, for me, it's not a big deal to just say, well, honey, I'm going off to the dealership for the oil change. Give me the keys, and saying, hey, take care of whatever recalls, do whatever you want while you have it. And if the answer of the dealership is, well, with the recalls, 1, 2, or 3 recalls that are on it, it's going to take us 5 hours. Well, then they lend me a vehicle. So I just, walk across the street to the movie theater, watch a movie or two, and come back. Whether the vehicle's out of my hands for an hour or for 4 hours, it really doesn't change my life whatsoever. Ford dealerships always have these, taxi services basically where they'll drive you, they can bring you to work and then pick you up at the end of your work day. So I don't see recalls as an issue. What I see as an issue is if I think back to, what probably the case that irritates me the most, 1999 and 2000, 2001, Porsche 911 clients would go to the dealership and say, well, my engine blew up and I've got 10,000 miles. And the answer was, well, it's your fault. You raced it too much. You mistreated it too much. You're going to have to buy yourself a new engine. That kind of, blame the consumer, blame the customer attitude. That's what truly bothers me. I had a 1.6 liter or a 2 liter Hyundai or Kia engine back when they're still in the denial phase, saying, well, no, you know what, that ticking noise coming from your engine, it's totally normal. Just live with it. And they're just hoping that customers would get to the end of their warranty and then it would break at 61,000 miles and they wouldn't have to pay a cent for it. Well, thank goodness that they had no choice but they're forced into extending people's warranty. So I really like the Maverick, and it's a really close second because I think the Maverick is a fantastic bargain. I love how it drives. I love how I can, drive it really quickly in corners. I find the hybrid to be surprisingly quick. Now, the hybrid, someone was saying that they're probably going to buy a Subaru Crosstrek, which isn't a bad option. I like the look of Subarus. I like their practicality. I've always been a little worried when Subaru touches a turbo. It often doesn't end well. Subaru and turbo power, for people that I know, including myself, we haven't always been very lucky when it comes to the turbos. So they were saying that a Subaru Crosstrek, just like the Maverick, tows 1,500. Actually, your Maverick tows 2,000 pounds, even if it's a hybrid, and you don't have to worry about towing the 2,000 pounds with that hybrid because it's an eCVT transmission. And this is why I love the Maverick. Every manufacturer around seems to be rushing into the CVT transmission game. Why? Because it's inexpensive. It's a very inexpensive transmission to manufacture because it's essentially like a skidoo, whether it's belt driven and it's, whether it's a strap or belt driven and that belt is more of a chain, you could say. Well, when you put strain on that strap or chain, well, with time, even chains, the links, they wear out with time. I've taken apart some old V8 muscle cars, and when you're taking out, when you get to because I want to, put on a bigger, louder cam that burbles and vibrates the vehicle, because, I was just completely convinced when I was younger that that's what it took to get girls and be cool. I got the girl, but I didn't get her with the muscle car. I was out of the muscle car game by then. But I often would come across chains that were just about to be completely torn apart. And I have come across some timing and at the mechanic shop. I've seen some timing chains that with time do wear out. So CVTs aren't very good for pulling, and long term, they're not great. But the Maverick, I love the fact that it has an eCVT because it's a planetary gear set. So you've got one big gear, just like you have on very, very similar to Toyotas. So Toyota's hybrids are very reliable when they're running off an eCVT setup. You've got a big gear with big teeth, and then you've got little gears to help move things along and help simulate gear shifts when they want to through the computing system. But these transmissions, eCVTs, tow really well. You get all the efficiency and you get the fuel savings that you get out of a CVT without all the unreliability and increased chances. I was very good at poker through university, played with friends and sometimes not friends, but it's sort of, I funded part of my university. My fun time was playing poker, and it kind of would fund some of my university. So I've gotten away from gambling since then, but I don't like to take a bad, dangerous bet. And a CVT is a bad, dangerous bet, but I love how the Maverick is fuel efficient, including the EcoBoost and the 2-liter turbo. I think is great because often at Audi or BMW, they're like, oh, you want a great 4-cylinder engine? Well, they consider their 2-liter turbo to be a premium engine, and you're paying a premium price for that engine. And on the Bronco Sport, which I'm very surprised I can say I really like, even with the 1.5 liter, which my old muscle car heart would say, don't like the 1.5 liter, but I drove it and I like it. And I think it does make a good off-road machine with a lift and some tires. So Tim, I think you're on to something really cool there. And the Ford Maverick 2-liter, they're not charging you an arm and a leg to get that. You don't have to go up to the Badlands version, or you don't have to get a decked out Escape, a fully equipped Escape to get into that 2-liter. You've got incredible performance at a real bargain of a price. Now for 2024, it is the standard engine. And I think that is a huge that's a great present on Ford's part. They could make the Maverick come standard with a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter. It does fit into it. We all know that because it's the same platform. It shares the platform as the Escape. So I think on a value, in the sense to value, the Maverick would be my favorite vehicle when you're considering value and what comes out of the wallet. Now, because I have a YouTube channel and these vehicles are partially tax deductible for the mileage that I use them for the channel, well, the price of the Bronco doesn't really matter to me. And that's why in the end, I like the Bronco the most, because when you're not looking at price, yeah, it's great to be able to just throw off the top, take it off-roading. And we've owned so many Mustangs. We've had about 10 or 12 new Mustangs, probably 15 to 17 Mustangs altogether. But I would always spend my weekend washing them and stressing out whether they would get a rock chip. And they weren't go everywhere, anywhere vehicles. Whereas the Bronco, I don't know what it is, but I can be up in the mountains on a gravel road and just put the pedal to the metal, kick up rocks all over the place, and just have a total carefree, free feeling. And I
Yeah,
love it.
and you know that it was bothering me that you need to leave the Mustang in the garage for the winter and buy another car for the winter. The Bronco does all the season in Canada. It's totally different each season. So yeah, it's perfect with the top down in the winter. You're comfortable in your SUV, big tires in the snow, good on the ice too. So yeah, definitely the Bronco for me too. You have both good comments about the Bronco, and I totally agree with that.
Each season in Canada is different
Mhm.
from each other, but within a season, it can be very different. We've had what would be about 82 degrees Fahrenheit right before Christmas in December. We've also seen not our, and that was our part of Canada, but out west in June, middle of June, they had what looked like almost a foot of snow. They had about 8 inches of snow come down. So it's nice to have a vehicle that it doesn't matter what the environment throws at you, you're getting through it. I do hope that Bronco, they are talking about maybe having specialty models. This fire, this isn't a fire edition. It's that Broncos are being, used as fire vehicles. But if ever a fire edition was available to the general public, that'd be a pretty cool special edition. But for me, I'd rather have, honestly, because of the whole go anywhere lifestyle of the Bronco, I'd rather have a plug-in. Like if someone were to offer me a V8 plug-in Bronco or a Lamborghini, I wouldn't even ask which is worth what. I'd take the plug-in V8 Bronco. Now I'd also be very, very happy with the 2.7 liter plug-in Bronco, but I think the 2.3 liter is going to be more than adequate in regards to there's a lot of potential for having an incredible amount of torque and almost too much torque, because you could have more torque in a 2.3 liter plug-in Bronco than you have in the Raptor in the 3-liter V6 twin turbo. So I'm still really keeping my fingers crossed. Tim, what would you say? What do you think our chances are of getting a plug-in Bronco? And if you had to guess a year.
A year? I don't know. Probably that when it's ready for its mid-year, like refresh. What would that be?
2025 or 2026?
Probably 25. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think they've got since Jeep has one, they're probably looking at it. I don't know. So I'm not sure what combination. I mean, with that, I don't even know what combination that'd be, because right now the only plug-in they make is the 2.5, right?
Yep.
Is that right? So
That's right.
they'd have to be a 2.5 plug-in. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a good comparison, because usually you see a 2.0 Eco or a 2.5 plug-in, but you don't typically see going from a 2.3. So hopefully they make a new upgraded plug-in. I don't know. It'd be nice to see. I don't know. At least a high. I mean, even a hybrid, but I don't know. because I think some people are concerned that with an off-road vehicle that it needs power, it needs, you know, all the torque and everything. But really on the trail, you're better off having something like an EV would actually do really well, because, you know, a lot of people think, well, you hear of the EVs having all this power and how fast they can go off the line, but that doesn't mean that's the only way they can be driven. So they can have, you can easily just take off how you need to in an EV or a plug-in if you have it in that mode. So it'd be really nice to take that on the trail in a full EV mode, you know, and it would probably be the best situation. So hopefully, we'll see it soon. I don't know. My guess, maybe 25. I don't know. Again, that's a guess, because Ford
My
doesn't
guess
tell
would
us
also
anything.
be at the mid-model refresh, and I can't remember if this was my imagination or if there was a bit of insider talk. Let's say, even if it was insider talk, I shouldn't say it was insider talk, so I should say either way, it's my imagination. But I remember distinctly there was talk, and there wasn't any talk about timeline, but that a plug-in would need to come to the Ford Ranger as well as the Bronco. And because back then there was no 2.7 liter for the Ford Ranger, this my imagination, not inside talk, made me think, oh, well, the only shared engine between the Ranger and the Bronco is the 2.3 liter. So I kind of made an assumption that, well, if I were to gamble, my gamble would be that it would come to the 2.3 liter. But now that the 2.7 liter is going to be also available for the Ranger. And because who knows, maybe one day we'll get a Ranger Raptor R. I've heard nothing of that. But if I were to personally build a Ranger Raptor R, knowing that you can't really fit a 3.5 liter V6 into a Ranger frame without, completely, modifying that frame and making the vehicle literally wider, also the same problem for the Bronco, if I recall correctly. If I wanted to make an R version of a Raptor or a Ranger Raptor and not take away from the wow factor of the 3 liter V6, which has incredible sound, to the point where I put my mouth where my money is, I've put it down an order on a Ranger Raptor. But if I were to see an R version, I certainly wouldn't mind if it was a 2.7 liter plug-in, because yeah, like Tim says, plugins can be incredible for off-roading because of that low-end torque, especially if you have, you can program these things to have an off-road mode. And if your off-road mode, if you still have enough battery remaining in off-road mode, the whole computing system can be programmed so that battery is used specifically at low speeds to help you overcome obstacles. Or because and it's weird because torque application when you're off-roading, if you're in sand, you don't want to apply a whole lot of torque immediately because you'll just dig down. Whereas if you're rock crawling, well, then you do want to have immediate torque. You don't necessarily want to you really don't want to have to work into it, because you don't want to have speed when you rock crawl. Speed and rock crawling is, a great formula for rolling the vehicle or flipping it backwards. A lot of bad things can happen when you add rock crawling and speed together.
Yeah,